Right, October Red Boxing. It's a quick one. We're here with the lovely Ade Oladipo. Ade, talk to me. What's going on?
It's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy. The whole situation, everything. When I first heard about it a couple of days ago, I think I was like everyone. I was like, what? Like impossible, right? We're getting ready for the biggest event over here in years. Like in terms of two British fighters going at each other. For me, bigger than Tyson Fury did. And what I know that sold 90,000. But just the way this has captured the public imagination, and you're thinking, it must be a joke. Like this can't, like, we're going to hear something else. We're going to hear like, no, it's not, it's okay. For us to be here right now, you know, a few minutes away from a press conference, and potentially we're hearing the fight could be off, is just insane. It's insane. But if it is off, 100% the right decision.
We talk about right decisions, and I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate because, of course, it is the right decision. However, the lead up to this event, there's been media days that have been going on since last week. We've seen red carpet, we've seen celebrities, the cost implications, everything that's been put into this fight, and a card that's stacked full of fighters that are maybe going to be facing the news that they won't be getting paid. Talk to us about that.
That's who I feel sorry for most. I don't necessarily, Darren Barker's in the building as well now. Darren doesn't want to say anything. Like, I'm not. No words. No words. No words whatsoever. You know what it is? That's who I feel sorry for the most. Not necessarily Chris and Connor in this one. It is the undercard fighters. People that won't get paid, right? These are people that don't have sponsorship sort of negotiations with, you know, I don't know, whatever. They're not going to get paid, are they? So I feel sorry for them the most. Hopefully they can be compensated somehow, put on other cards. But I'm looking at some of the fighters that are here, and you can see they've been trying to make weight. They're drained. They want to know what's going on as well. The whole thing's a shambles. Honestly, it's a disgrace, the whole thing. And even for me, someone that's come from the YouTube world to working for a main broadcaster, even I've been a bit like, okay, what do we do? My own integrity's been at play here. Like, what do I do? Because I know what Ade would have been like on the green chair Ade.
Oh, my days. Straight down.
Oh, my God.
Straight down the line.
Oh, my God. So for me, it's been a bit weird in terms of what do I do. So I think I'm happy it's been taken out of my own hands because I was questioning whether or not even I want to be involved in an event. So, yeah, it's a big problem. It's a big problem.
When you look at it, though, and if you look at it, the face of everything that's obviously taken everything and who was willing to fight the corner and say, we really want the fight to go ahead, and sort of like even sweeping under the carpet the fact of, yeah, it's just VADA, to then obviously this pause now. What do you think about that? And I understand you're a Dazn employee. I'm not asking you to slag anybody off, but it's just your thoughts on it because it's tricky. It's tricky all round.
It's tricky and it's confusing, but there are red flags. You employed VADA for a reason. So if VADA give you a positive test, you almost have to, look, you employed them to find these things. So you then can't sort of come back and say, okay, but what about UCAD? And also even that situation with VADA and UCAD, like a UCAD not testing for the same thing, like we need to be all across the board. Whether it be USADA, WADA, VADA, UCAD, all test for the same things. Not one test for something and one don't test for something. It's just been confusing, honestly. And even for, look, not to be like in any way stick up for Conor Benn here, but you've tested negative for everything UCAD have tested you for. So even he must be slightly confused, but I've never been so upset and angry at an event being potentially, as we see now, canned than this. Never. But as I said, and I understand what you're saying about the undercard fighters and the amount of money being spent. This is the right decision. The blowback, if this event was put on, would have been insane. I've seen all the boxing people around the world. Everyone has said this fight should be canned. If we were, as a company, pushing ahead with it, there's a bit of a problem there.
I'm going to talk about the writing being on the wall. I'm going to go back. We looked on the VADA website as we do. We like to do a little bit of homework, and it seems as if Conor had signed up to voluntarily join that programme back in August of this year. August is kind of like when the presser was going on and everything was getting heated up. We're preparing for this fight. There's been rumours that obviously the results have been out for a while, and obviously there's a leak somewhere to almost like sabotage it on the week of the fight. But going back to the writing being on the wall, we had Chris Eubank Sr. very concerned. He's voiced on more than one occasion that he really weren't happy about this fight going on. Your thoughts on that?
Well, he's obviously way more in the know than we are. And that's what he was obviously referring to. Because initially when he said boycott the fight, I was like, what are we talking about? Like, it's not about the weight cut, because you know your son can make the weight. There must be more to it. So obviously he's obviously known about this. As you say, it's been, I guess, behind closed doors for about a month. We've all known about it in the last couple of days. So I understand why he then now said boycott the fight. Initially, when I saw that statement on Tunde and Spencer's channel, I was like, what is going on? Like, calm down. Like, I get it. You're upset about the weight cut. I get, but this is a big fight. Obviously, look, he understands. And, you know, he understands, obviously, the dangers of the sport as well. He's been on both sides. So it makes more sense now. We're all starting to piece together all the puzzle now. But I do think we need to wait and hear what Conor has to say. We've not had an official statement from Conor. Like, how did the clemifene, I think that's the drug, get in his system? I want to know all of that. I was going to ask him that today as well. Obviously, I can't ask him anymore, but I still think I want to hear his side of the story before I completely bash him. Because there's always two sides to a coin. And I think he deserves that, but it's not looking good. Not looking good at all.
We've seen that one of his other fights that he's had, I think it was Van Heerden, the South African chap, was one of the first fighters to come out and sort of like question his loss. We talk about things like this having a taint on, any fight that you've had and any possible future fights. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. And I can understand why Chris Van Heerden has said that. Like, if I'm a fighter, I have to kind of understand it. If I was a fighter and I fought Conor and he knocked me down or knocked me out, I would be questioning things as well now. So look, it's going to be tough for Conor to rebuild. Obviously, he's got a great team behind him. And that's their job now, to kind of rebuild, again, put out a statement, explain what has happened, how this has happened, and then we go from there with it. Until we get that, it's difficult. But yeah, all the fighters are going to come and say stuff now. I'll be shocked if Chris Algieri doesn't say stuff, and Vargas, and all of them are going to say stuff. But it's not easy, is it? It's going to be a tough road back. It really is. Again, it's a drug that I've never heard of in my life. And I thought I go onto VADA quite a lot and look at the illegal substances. I've never heard of this in my life. So I think everyone's now doing their studying to kind of find out a bit more. Yeah. But hopefully Conor does come here today. Obviously the press conference is still due to take place. I want to hear from him. I know we heard from him a bit yesterday on the Matchroom broadcast. I want to hear from him again. And I think someone does need to ask the question. This substance clearly was in your body. How did it get in there? Let's try and understand this a bit more. Because if he doesn't and he goes radio silence, we're all going to start making up things and it's going to get crazy.
Well, we've seen the crazy stuff that's been happening on IG. I think there was some kind of nutritionist doctor or somebody that was associated with him that does stuff with supplements. I'm not going to quote it, but I can't remember. But it was flying around on Twitter.
Testosterone.
Yeah, and this chap has apparently shut down all of his accounts and literally disappeared into oblivion. Things like that don't help either, do they?
No, this doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Look, and this is the problem. And this is why I don't want to be English biased. If this happened, and I heard it was an American fighter, I'm coming for you. Like, I remember when Oscar Valdez fought Robson Conceição, and there was an issue there, and I came for Valdez. So I don't want to, because Conor's my friend, not go for him. I want to know a bit more. I want to hear from Conor. But I do think we need to be fair. We can't go crazy when an American fells something, and when a Brit, we kind of all want to kind of put the reverse gears on. We've got to be fair. I think it's only fair to Chris that we do it, and I think it's fair to all the fighters that have turned up today as well. But at the same time, again, I know I'm repeating myself, I do want to hear from Chris. Sorry, I do want to hear from Conor. I want to hear from Conor's team as well. And ideally, I want to hear from his strength and condition. I want to hear from everyone, because this was supposed to be the biggest fight that we've seen over here for years, and now it looks like it ain't happening, and I'm disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed, because I would have been the one without, stroking my own, that had done the interview at the end, and I was looking forward to that. Honestly, it would have been my biggest moment, but hey, it happens.
Those biggest moments, then I'm going to ask from your point of view. You're a Dazn, you are somebody that works for Dazn. You're there ringside, after they claim the belts, they claim the wins, they claim the knockouts, sweat still dripping, blood, all sorts. But to be able to have that still non-biased opinion and to be able to talk about it, that's not a gift that everybody has got, because people will be naturally biased. How do you maintain your integrity as a boxing fan to still speak so openly and honest and be fair about it and transparent?
It's difficult, because I have my favourites. As a boxing fan, I'm watching and I'm like, okay, I want him to win, I want him to win. So it's difficult, but I don't know, you've got to... You realise, especially when you're that close up, what the fighters put into it. You're hearing the thuds. As you mentioned, you're seeing the sweat drip off, you're seeing the blood. Like, at home, watching it is one thing. Being ringside, so I think you owe them that respect to kind of give them the best possible fair interview you can, just because you are watching it. And it is insane when you're that close. And then you kind of really kind of respect the bravery. I would never do it. I'm on this side of the thing, I would never do it. I lift a bit of weights and I think I'm tough. What they do is crazy, and I think you have to give the respect. But look, I have my favourites. Like I see Lyndon Arthur over there. When he was fighting Yard, I wanted Yard to win. You know, I have my favourites, but at the same time, it's my job. It's my job. I'm lucky enough to have this job, so yeah, we got to do it.
Okay. I know you've got to go, so I've got to wrap this up because I'm getting the evil eyes from everybody. But we'll wait and see what happens in the press conference. This will probably go out after the press conference, but it's always a pleasure. Ade.
Thank you very much.
Am I going to jump on camera?
Thank you very much. The one and only. The one and only. I saw your workout the other day. All this shit.
Oh, my legs. Listen, my legs. Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.